Just spilled my water. That's okay. I'm going to sit up in this chair so I can see what I'm doing. Hi, everyone. Hi. Come on in. Welcome to Midweek Motivation. Welcome. Hello. Okay. And then, of course, I want to set up my other device so that I can see comments as they come in. Awesome. So, midweek motivation today, you just have me. My husband is working late today, and all is well with that. So, you won't have that powerful spiritual inspiration that you've become accustomed to today. But I'm going to go back to some of the original midweek motivation inspiration, the thing that got us started from the very beginning, as I wanted to motivate people to live out loud in their brilliance. I wanted to motivate people to do what it is that God has called and crafted and created you to do. That's what we're going to go back to today. But first of all, before I even get started, I really want to say thank you to everyone. I'm telling you, for the birthday shout outs and all of the well wishes that you guys poured on to me last week. Last week on the 24th of June, I turned 60 years old, and we originally had planned to do something huge for my 60th. I wanted to be out of the country, traveling, seeing new things, but COVID said not so. Gave me a whole different plan for my 60th. So I decided to simply do something different from the home base and go out and do something different every day. Not necessarily something new, but something different. So, so I had a wonderful week. My goddaughter spent the first day, Monday. She spent Monday with us. We went out. We did mani-pedis, and then we went down out to Old Town, Virginia, and had brunch at Blackwall Hitch is the name of the place. We had lunch there, and then we went up to Tyson's Corner, walked around, had just a relaxing, wonderful day. And then Tuesday we were planning to go up to Ocean City just to do the boardwalk, because I've done that once in my life, but I was a child. That's been a long time ago. So we wanted to just go to Ocean City and walk around, do that type stuff. But we were expecting, I think, 90% rain here and there. So we thought that the day would be a wash. So we decided not to do that. We went over to, we went up to the Clarksburg outlets and walked around there a little bit. And we went up to Frederick and had dinner there. Wednesday, we headed over to Baltimore Harbor over there, and we had lunch at Cheesecake Factory and dinner at the Rusty Scupper. Excellent locations for dinner. If you guys ever make it to the Baltimore Harbor, those were excellent dinner choices. Just spent the day over in Baltimore, took some pictures over on the waterfront. And if you will remember, last week we were on the waterfront when we did Midweek Motivation. We were there celebrating my birthday celebration week. That's a part of that. Thursday, we went up to Sight and Sound Theater in Pennsylvania. I'm going to tell you, if anywhere in the United States, anywhere in the world, if you ever get close to Pennsylvania, Google it, check it out, make you some reservations at Sight and Sound Theater. They do dramatifications, I believe, theater of scenes from the Bible. And the scenery it puts you right there in it. It is absolutely phenomenal. That's the thing that impresses me the most about Sight and Sound. The theater itself is that the props and the stage looks very authentic, and they make you feel like you're a part of what was happening during that time. So it was very good. And then it's up in the Dutch country. I think that's the right word. Amish country in Pennsylvania. So it's very rural there, and it's just wholesome, clean, wholesome living there. And they have this restaurant on the grounds of the theater, and that's where we always eat when we go up there. Again, something that I really, really do recommend. If you're anywhere in Pennsylvania, anywhere close to Pennsylvania, you can get there. You need to do that, because I think the play is about 2.5, 3 hours long. They have an intermission, of course, give you a chance to get up and stretch your legs and stuff. But it's highly recommended. This is my probably my 4th or 5th time going to Sight and Sound. So I really, really highly recommend it. And then Thursday, that was Thursday, which was my actual birthday. And I shared my birthday with my sister in love, darling Sessa. So the two of us were there celebrating our birthday. We had other family members with us, two of my other sisters in love and my brother in love. We were all there celebrating together, celebrating our birthday, and it was wonderful. And then on Friday, I just turned 60, okay? So I can't run like I did when I was 50. So Friday morning, we slept in, we lounged around the house, and then we went out, had dinner with other family members and friends for Friday evening. It has been a wonderful birthday celebration, and I am elated, absolutely elated about the people who really shared in celebrating our 60th birthday. So that's where we want to start. But then we want to talk about, how do we transition from what we consider to be an age where we are at our prime and moving into senior citizen age, moving closer to it, and how a lot of people seem to feel that once they get to a certain age that they no longer have anything to contribute to life, and they no longer have, they're no longer useful, things like that. But I want to tell you, at 60, I feel like I am just getting started. It's amazing. I feel fantastic. Yes, there are aches and pains, that come along with aging. Everyone's going to have those. But that does not mean you have to stop living. It does not mean that you have to stop contributing to a wonderful life and contributing to the lives of those around you, of other people. 60 or any age, that the Lord allows you to live to is a blessing. It is a blessing. And as long as we're still here in this world, God has something for each of us to do. He has someone's life that he wants us to impact. He wants, now the word says that Jesus says that he came to give us life and that more abundantly. Okay, the thief comes to steal, kill, and destroy. But Jesus said, I have come to give you life, that you may have life and have that more abundantly. So as long as we're still breathing, the heart and the intent of our Lord and Savior is that we live an abundant life. As long as we're still here, as long as we're still living. And that's the plan that I have. That is my plan. So I've been talking with some people. Let me see. I took notes because I wasn't really ready for tonight. So I took some notes. I was waiting for my husband. He's not here yet, and that's cool. Oh yeah, there are so many things that we allow, that's the right word, to stop us from living that abundant life that really should not stop us, because finances being one. Sometimes we say, well, I don't have the money to do all the things that I want to do, to go all the places that I want to go. But listen, within your budget, there is something that is fascinating that you can always do. There's some place that you can always get to, even parks now. There's some fantastic things that you can do in parks. A lot of parks, especially here, where we live, a lot of the parks have, water activities that you can, for a couple of dollars, get on a boat, or even go fishing. There are things that we can do that don't cost us a lot of money. You don't have to have a $2,500 budget to go burn on your birthday just because, or just burn to do those things to live abundantly, right? You can do some things that cost you little to nothing. Taking nice long walks in places that you've never gone. Drive to a city that you've never been to, and put your car in the parking garage and just go out and see the city. COVID, yes, has got us still somewhat on lockdown, but and now we're in this heat wave, so that might not be perfect, but you get the picture of what I'm trying to say. Don't allow things to get in your way of living an abundant life. Don't let things like finances, things like time. Some people say, I just don't have time to do this, that, or the other. Well, yes and no. Because you can take the same, everybody gets 24 hours. No one has more time than the next person. We all get 24 hours. My pastor says you can't manage time, but what you can do is manage what you do with that time. So in your 24 hours, you can select, and you have the privilege and the opportunity to select what you want to do. Isn't that great? Isn't that great? Now, some of the problems with that is that we allow other people to task us, and then when people task us, then we start pushing even further to the background those things that we want to do. So it's a transformation of the mind. It's a renewing of the mind. It's a changing of your mind that you have to go through in order to begin to bring your things back to the forefront and do those things that you want to do. Those things that's going to bring life to you and it's going to cause you to smile inside and out. Right? All right. And one other thing that I hear, I was going to call it an excuse, but it's not. Another reason that I hear from people that as a reason that they don't experience life to the full is that they don't want to do things by themselves. So there are always groups going places. In fact, I have a neighbor who is single, lives alone. My goodness, the trips that this lady takes are amazing. And she's always going with trusted groups. You just don't get out there and go willy-nilly because, everybody in this world don't mean you good. But so she always finds groups that are going to places that are interesting to her. And these are, as I said, they are trusted groups. You have to do your due diligence. And she has gone around the world probably and back because she just loves to travel. So there are a lot of things that we can do that we don't need a group of people that we know to go and be a part of that. So don't let that stop you, again, from living out loud in what God has allowed you and has afforded you to enjoy. There are so many things that things that bring us joy, things that make us happy, things that take us to that happy place, things that we've always desired to do. And I'm 60 years old now, so I do have a bucket list. The things that I really want to do before I leave this world, things that I want to see with my own eyes, the Northern Lights, things like that. But I really want to see with my own eyes. Today's motivation is to don't let finances or the right people or any people or enough time. Don't let those things stop you from apprehending all that God has set aside for you, or don't let those things cause you to miss out. That's what's really happening. We miss out on the wonderful opportunities to live this fantastic, abundant life that God has allowed us to live, that He died for us to live. And in the process of time, in the process of you living your life and you fulfilling your dreams and following the passion that God put within you, you speak about Him along the way to the people that you meet. And guess what? You are spreading the gospel everywhere you go. Just by being you, just by living out loud in your lane and doing those things that bring you joy. Isn't that wonderful? We don't have to make it so serious. We don't have to make it something that it's not. If that's how God created you and crafted you and called you, then that's how you should live your life. Yes, everybody is not a preacher. Everybody is not a minister. Everybody's not an elder, an apostle, bishops. Everybody is not in that lane, but we all have a testimony to tell. We all have something that we can share with people about the goodness of God and how He has blessed our lives. And so another thing that has transpired that I want to talk to you a little bit about, COVID, being on lockdown during COVID birthed a lot of businesses, and a lot of people began to live out loud in their lane during COVID as a direct result of being on lockdown from COVID. Authentically You Imprint is not one of those. The imprint was birthed before COVID, but it did not actually come into manifestation until April of 2020, which was right, at the beginning, at the onset of COVID. It's when we actually went live with Authentically You Imprint. And on the Imprint show, the thing that we really, really want to do is to find people in our neighborhoods and in our families, on our jobs, at churches that are out there doing some wonderful, fantastic things and shine the spotlight on them. We want to and in shining the spotlight on each individual person, they say things while we're interviewing them and spotlighting them that sparks some inspiration in you. that let you know that, wow, that is fantastic. And so I can do stuff like that. Or that has always been a passion of mine. Let me see if I can start doing that. So the inspiration is always there. It's always there. So one of the people, I've talked to Liberty Cheney, and the thing is, the videos are over on our YouTube channel, AY Imprint. It's on YouTube. Go over there. You can see all of the videos. But I talked to a young lady, Liberty Cheney. She is an apostle, an entrepreneur. She is an author. And what we talked to her about, but mainly, was her skincare products that she created out of COVID. She started and created these things out of COVID. And we also haven't talked, you haven't seen Kim Young yet, but she has done the same thing. We talked to Myra Wilson, who did the same thing. In the midst of COVID, her business has flourished. It has flourished. It's the Body Shop at Home. All these videos are over there for you to see. We talked to Damia Jackson. She is into fitness. She's a personal trainer. And just how she just had to shift just a little bit during her business during COVID so she can continue to do her business. But I'm telling you, people are doing some wonderful things out there, and you can too. They're doing some things that they have had a passion to do for years, and finally, these things are coming into manifestation, and they're loving it. All of a sudden, they're filled with joy. All of a sudden, they're breathing, because they have finally apprehended that thing which had apprehended them. All right, so I really want to encourage you not to let anything. And Paul Jones, we interviewed and talked with Paul Jones. I'm telling you, that young man has a story to tell. Go over to our YouTube channel. Check him out. Wonderful things that these stories are inspirational. They inspire you to do more than you're doing. They inspire you to take a chance. They inspire you to take a leap of faith. That's what they do. When you hear these people talk about what they're doing, Cindy Hall, I'm telling you, powerful stories about their life and the things that they're doing, the impact that they're making, the imprint that they're leaving in this world. It's amazing. It is absolutely fantastic. And I really, really encourage you to go listen to them for inspiration for things that you want to do, So COVID, right now, COVID is beginning to shift a little bit. We were locked down inside, couldn't go out, couldn't do things. And out of that came other things. My niece, Christina, she started making masks at the beginning of COVID. And now, she's being written up in Sewn magazine. She's making her own clothing line. She has a website now. And I'll find that and put it in there so that you can go visit her website. People are just doing some fantastic things. And now that the world is lightening up a little bit, people are beginning to travel again. And it's wonderful. So the thing is, once we are completely out of COVID, once the world has opened entirely back up, the question is, where do you want to be when that happens? What do you want to be doing when the world opens back up? How do you want to impact the world when it opens back up? And another great question is, what have you learned while on lockdown? What have you learned about yourself? Good, bad, or indifferent. There are things that we all had to sit with while we were sitting here in lockdown from COVID. Some of those things were self-examination, things that we need to tweak about ourselves, things we need to stop doing, things we need to start doing, things that we have overlooked for years, things that we push pause on for whatever those reasons were. We talked to a young lady who, she was doing what was she doing? I can't really remember right now. One of her passions, and then she started having children, so she put her passions on the back burner while she raised her family, which is proper. Every mother, every father has to do that to a certain degree. You have to bring something to the front and something goes to the back at the same time. So she put some things to the background while she was raising her family, and now her children are grown. She has gone back to, or she has picked back up on the thing that brought her great joy. She's back in her passion, and she's rocking and rolling, just like with me and writing. I wrote that first book. I used to journal all my life, compiled a book, published a book. Now, I mean, I went from publishing a book to Midweek Motivation to Authentically You imprint, even talking to groups of people about being authentic in that space. And now, even here now on ITV, on SIBN, and the whole nine. And yet, I still have a burning passion to write more books. So, at some point, at the right time, I'll push that. I'll push, some of this other stuff back to the background, and I'll pull that, the writing back to the forefront. It's all about timing. It's all about inspiration. It's all about living, following your own path. And that's the name of my book, Authentically You, Following Your Own Path. So it's all about following the path that God has set you on. He has placed you on. It's all about following that path and not being envious of someone else's path, and not being jealous of what someone else is doing, not even comparing yourself or your path to what someone else is doing, but follow the path that God has placed you on. I'm telling you, the adventures around every corner will blow your mind, and you will find yourself living a life filled with great joy, knowing that you have heard from God and that you're out there doing what it is that He wants you to do. So what imprint do you want to leave in the world? What imprint do you want to leave on people as we come out of COVID? Even though, we have this whole new variant, so we're masking back up and, being more cautious again. But still, we have to think about those things, just sit a moment with yourself and just think about those things. What is it that you want to do? How is it that you want people to remember you on the other side of COVID? That's just some of the things, that I was thinking about when I realized what I had to do, the motivation for this week. And so one of the things that I had to do was to pass the baton. You also have to know when to pass the baton. I think I talked about this a little bit when we first came into lockdown, and Andy joined me here on Midweek Motivation. And, I basically passed the baton to him for the motivation, because he had the energy, he had the messages, he had what it took, to do this. And I love it. He still does. It's just that when he's not here, then, I need to remember that I have to stay keyed up and tuned up so that when he's not available, I can do it, But you have to know when to pass the baton. So the thing about passing the baton, it's not that things are being taken away from you. It's not that you are being pushed aside while someone else comes to the forefront. It's that you're making room for God to give you more. You're making room, you're making space for God to give you a new assignment or an additional assignment. You're making space to sometimes to just sit and hear from God about what you've been doing and how He wants you to tweak it so that it can reach further. It can bless different people. Maybe, you have to just sit with God long enough and be okay with that while God speaks and you listen, so that you can pick up a new baton or even jump back into the lane that you were in and be better at what you're doing, be more equipped at what you were doing. So that was another thing that I had to learn, and I learned through COVID. I learned that in COVID, in the midst of COVID. And then, sometimes you need to push pause long enough to take a break, to take a breath, to refresh, to sit in the presence of the Lord and be refreshed. Those things are all important. They are all necessary, because none of us can run at the pace, at a high pace all the time and be effective. You can't do it. So you have to pull back from some things, examine some things, and see where you are, make some tweaks, and get some new information, download it, discard some old information, make room for new stuff. And I think it's absolutely wonderful. It's all a part of living the life that we have been called and created and crafted to live. I absolutely love it. So, and the last thing I wanted to talk about was I think I touched a little bit on it about self-examination and evaluation. It's one of some of the things that we can do to tweak ourselves, that we need to turn just a little bit. That's going to make us better. It's going to make us a better person. It's going to cause us to serve our community in a better way. just a small tweak. Sometimes this could be a major tweak, I'm just saying. But sometimes it's just a small tweak that's going to allow us to begin to go in a different direction and to speak to a different group of people. And I think those are those times of examination and evaluation are very, very critical. And I think they're important to growth. They're important. So sometimes you have to know when to let go. There's a song, you know when to fold them, know when to hold them, know when to walk away, know when to run. Those things, you need to know those things. And you can't know them if you continue to run at such a pace and never push pause on your life and sit and look at what you have done, what you are doing, and what you need to do in the future. So that has been some of the things that I jotted down today. I really, my passion is all about, living in your authentic self, living from a place of authenticity, and loving the skin that you're in, not being too critical, not being too critical of who you are. As the energy comes from you and it emanates from you when you are confident in who you are, no matter what it is that you're doing, no matter how it is that you look. I mean, I have made some major changes in this year. Anyone who saw me in January of this year, or even have gone back and looked at any of my old videos, I had locks. I had probably 13, 14 inches of locks on my hair in January. And now I've cut all my locks off. I've made some major changes. And no, it's not because I was sick of anything. No, I just need to make a change. And so that's what I did. And it took me a minute to get used to it, but I'm loving it now. I absolutely love it. And people tell me, people who have known me throughout my whole life process, it was 8 years with locks. They say to me, I can never do that, but you're owning it, and that makes the difference. And that is what I had to learn. I had to say to myself, ma'am, it's a done deal. It's a wrap. The locks are gone. Get used to it and get over it. This is it for now, for however long it lasts like this, okay? So there are things that we do have to change. There are things that we do have to let go of in order to move into our next, in order to be in a position to do what it is that God would have us to do now. And that is my motivation for today. Don't hold on to what you used to do, and don't allow anyone else to hold you to the person that you used to be. God is a progressive God, and He wants us to grow. He wants us to move forward as He is teaching us, and He is maturing us in the things that He would have us to do. Be free in God. Be free in God. Be very attentive to what He has to say, yes, but be free in Him and be free to do what He tells you to do. So that has been my motivation for today. Look at that. It's 5:59. I did make 30 minutes. My husband, if he was here, we would still be going this last 30 minutes. But it's fine. It's okay. We will be back with you next week, and hopefully he'll be here with us next week. If not, God gives me something else to say, I will come back and I'll do my 30 minutes. I'll do my 30 minutes. But listen, continue to make this your season to live out your reason. There is a reason why I say that when I close every week. Not only on the motivation piece, I also say it over on the Imprint Show. Make this your season to live out your reason. Be authentically you, because that is the core of who I am, and that is the core of the message that I always want to get out. That I want everyone who ever listens to anything I have ever said to get the message that whatever season of life you are in, now is the season for you to live out the reason that you are here. So be authentically you. I love you all, and I will see you next week. Have a great rest of your evening. Bye-bye.